Hello and welcome to the Save the Butterflies app tutorial using Thunkable. Before we start in Thunkable, we're going to be thinking about what is a habitat, specifically the habitat of the Carner blue butterfly. A habitat is an animal or plant's natural environment where they live and thrive. And so this Carner blue butterfly depends on the plant lupin to get its food and lay its eggs. But unfortunately, we have a lot of pine trees and other trees that can block the growth of the lupin. And in the past, there used to be forest fires that kind of burned back the brush and the pine trees and the other kind of trees so that the lupin could grow. But now we control forest fires a little more. And what has happened is the Carner blue butterfly is no longer finding it easy to find lupin. So what we're going to be doing is making an app where we as a player have to burn back brush so lupin can grow and the Carner blue butterfly population can increase. What's that going to look like? Well, we have our app planning worksheet here. We're going to have the game rules kind of pop up before they start playing, and we have a bunch of different elements on the screen that we're going to control and a start over button so they can start over. Now, the fire in the middle is what's going to be doing most of the action. So the buttons here are going to control the fire. We want to burn the brush, and when the fire hits a brush, the brush will turn into lupin and a new butterfly will appear because that will signify that the butterfly population can increase with more lupin. However, we have to be careful. If the fire hits a butterfly, they will have to start over the game because you don't want to burn the butterflies, right? And then at the end of the game, they should put the fire out using the pond water. Because if the fire stays there, it will destroy more lupin and destroy the butterflies as well. And the start over button restarts the game. So we're going to go ahead into Thunkable. We're going to thunkable.com and clicking sign in. We're making an Android app today, and you're going to sign in with Google. When you get to this part, I'm just going to say okay to that. We are going to click create new app. If there are other apps in the account that you're using, leave those alone and go into create new app. I'm going to call mine Save the Butterflies, and I have to do an underscore here. And you can call yours whatever you would like. I recommend putting your initials at the end because that will help us know whose is whose if you're sharing an account. So I'm calling mine Save the Butterflies, and then you click OK. Now we're going to be taken into our program here where we can look at all of the different elements that we can drag over onto our first screen and how we can change the properties of those elements. So see all these categories over here. We're going to start with, let's take a look back here. Let's start with the canvas, which is where we're going to put a bunch of image sprites on top of here. So let's go into drawing and animation, and we're going to drag a canvas over to the screen. Now we're going to make it as big as possible. So we're going to go to height and width on the right-hand side, and we're going to make this fill parent. Now we will be putting more things underneath it, but for now we're going to just take up all that space so that it's as big as it can be. Now underneath here, we wanted to have some buttons that control the fire sprite that we'll have on here. So let's go into the user interface category. We're going to start with our up arrow. So let's drag that underneath. Button 1 is going to be our up arrow. And then we want to have two buttons side by side underneath that for left and right. If you look back here, I have this button and then I have a left and right button. So we're going to do what is called, let's close user interface and go into layout. We're going to grab a horizontal arrangement and put it underneath the first button. Notice the blue line. Wherever the blue line is, that's where the element that you drag over is going to land. So it's important to pay attention to that. I'm going to now go back and get two buttons to put inside that horizontal arrangement. Notice the blue line, that's good. I want it on the left, and then button 3 is going to be on the right. So I'm going to drag it inside and kind of go a little bit to the right, and there we go. I'm also going to drag button 4 down here. That's going to be my down arrow, and button 5 is there for the start over. So I'm going to go over here and I see start over. So to change the text on this bottom button, all I have to do is go to the right-hand side and find the text box. And in there, I can just type start over. Right, for the rest of them, we need to find images. We need to find images of up arrows, left arrows, right arrows, and down arrows. Now, I think it's important to find copyright friendly images. So I'm going to take you through the steps to find a copyright friendly image. When we open a new tab, we click on images, but we don't want to just search here. We want to make sure that they're safe and free to use for a project like this. So we click on images and then settings and then advanced search. Now I want to find an up arrow, and that's the first line here. So we've put our search term in the very first line. We can skip all of this and down to the bottom line here, right before the blue button. We want to pick the one that says free to use or share. We would have to pick free to use or share even commercially if we wanted to sell the app. But we can just do free to use or share because we're not going to be selling these, and then click that blue button. Then when you find an up arrow that you like, you can right click on it. So let's say you want to use just a regular black arrow like this. The nice thing about this one is it has a clear background, so I can see that the background of whatever my app is going to have will show through. So this gray and white checkerboard actually means that it's going to be clear. If I like it, I'm going to right click on it and save image as. Now I already have arrows that I've saved in here, but if I were saving this one, I would say up to, because I already have an up here, and then click save. So all you have to do is find your up, down, left, and right arrows. And then when you're done with that, you can meet me back here in Thunkable. I'm going to pause the video and you can keep working. Okay, hopefully you have found your images and you've downloaded them to the bar down here or to the computer somewhere. What we need to do is set the button to be the image. So button 1 is going to be our up arrow. So we go over to image and we find upload file, choose file, and we find the one that we want and say okay. Now it'll probably be too big. Yep, that's huge. So we're going to resize that. I'm going to recommend probably like a 30 pixel by 30 pixel size. So in height and width over here, we're going to do 30 by 30. Okay, and then I'm also going to take away the text that's on top of it because we don't need the text and the picture of the up arrow. Okay, so now what you need to do is get your buttons all figured out here. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing again. I'm uploading file, choose file. This is going to be my left arrow. So you guys go ahead and do that, and I will meet you back here. All right, great job. So we have our arrows here. This line won't show up in the actual app when we test it. It's just there to show you that you have it in a horizontal arrangement. Now let's make the background color of our canvas. Click on the canvas. We're going to make that whatever you want. I'm going to do green. So paint color, nope, background color up top here. We're going to make that light green for me. And then we need to grab an image sprite that will be the fire that those buttons are going to control. So that's also under drawing and animation, and we drag over an image sprite. I'm going to put it right in the middle, and I'm going to look over here and I see I have an image sprite here. Now we need to replace it with an image of fire. So we're going to do the same thing. If I still have this tab open, I can just research because it also has labeled for non-commercial reuse here. So I know that I'm still good. I don't want a real fire. These are too big. Real images are too big. So we're looking for clip art here. And I'm going to pick one that I like. If I like it, clear background, awesome. I'm going to save image as again, okay? Now I've already done it, so I'm going to skip this step and go back in here and set picture to be upload file, choose file. I want my fire, open, okay. And now we've got to resize it because that's way too big. And I'm going to do here, I'm going to do height and width, probably maybe 20 pixels by 20 pixels. That'll make it a little squarish, but that's okay. I'm actually going to change that to 30, I think. And something that often happens is if you try to change a size after you do it once, it doesn't actually fill that box. So if that happens, you can say none and okay, and then go back and I'll do it right now, just so you can see none and okay. So it's gone, but that's all right. I just go back and do it again. And I don't have to search this time. I can just click fire. All right, so that's a nice size right in the middle there. And what we need to do, let me see how much time we have left in this video. Not enough. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how to code these buttons to get the fire to move around the canvas.